were given charge of the cows. This event is described in Srimad Bhagavatam 10.50.1. When Lord Rama and Lord Krishna attained the age of Pauganda, 6 to 10, while living in Vrindavan, the cowherdmen allowed them to take up the task of tending the cows. Engaging thus in the company of their friends, the two boys rendered the land of Vrindavan most auspicious by imprinting upon it the marks of their lotus feet. As stated in the purport, since Lord Krishna's spiritual body had apparently grown slightly in age and strength, the senior men of Vrindavan, headed by Nanda Maharaj, decided to promote Krishna from the task of herding cows to the status of a regular cowherd boy. He would now take care of the full-grown cows, bulls, and oxen. Out of great affection, Nanda Maharaj had previously considered Krishna too small and immature to take care of the full-grown cows and bulls. It is stated in Kartik Mahatmya section of the Padma Puran, Shuklashtami Kartiketu Smartagopastami Buddhai Taddinad Vasudevo Abhut Gopaha Purvantu Vatpaha. The eighth lunar day of the bright fortnight of the month of Kartik is known by authorities as Gopastami. From that day, Lord Vasudeva served as a cowherd, whereas previously he tended the cows. The word Padai indicates that Lord Krishna blessed the earth by walking on her surface with his lotus feet. The Lord wore no shoes or other footgear but walked barefoot in the forest, giving great anxiety to the girls of Vrindavan, who feared that his soft lotus feet would be injured. The celebration was meant for only the cowherd men and the boys. But Srimati Radharani also wanted to enjoy the fun, and so, because of her resemblance of Subala Sakha, she donned his dhoti and other garments and joined Krishna. Thus, on this occasion, in temples in Vrindavan and elsewhere, Srimati Radharani is dressed as cowherd boy. This is what is this nothing only there. Q not is considered. Yes. This is another article. Or should I read the same Girar Nara article? Today is Gopastami, the day on which Krishna and Balram and other boys their age who previously had tended the cows were given charge of the cows. This event is described in Srimad Bhagavatam, 10th canto, 15th chapter, shlok number 1. Shri Shukavacha Tatascha Pogandavaya Shruto Vraje Babu Vastustu Pashupala Sammato Gascharyanto Sakhibhi Samam Pade Vrindavanam Punyam Ativa Chakratu. Translation. Sukdev Goswami said, when Lord Ram and Lord Krishna attained the age of Pauganda, 6 to 10, while living in Vrindavan, the cowherd men allowed them to take up the task of tending the cows. Engaging thus in the company of their friends, the two boys rendered the land of Vrindavan most auspicious by imprinting upon it the marks of their lotus feet. Purport. Lord Krishna wanted to encourage his cowherd boyfriends who had been swallowed by Aghasur and then stolen by Lord Brahma. Therefore, the Lord decided to bring them into the palm tree forest called Talavan, where there were many delicious ripe fruits. Since Lord Krishna's spiritual body had apparently grown slightly in age and strength, the senior men of Vrindavan, headed by Nanda Maharaj, decided to promote Krishna from the task of herding cows to the status of a regular cowherd boy. He would now take care of full-grown cows, bulls and oxen. Out of great affection, Nanda Maharaj had previously considered Krishna too small and immature to take care of full-grown cows and bulls. It is stated in the Kartik Mahatmya section of the Padma Puran, Shuklashtami Kartiketo Smrta Gopastami Budhai Tardinad Vasudeva Bhut Gopaha Purvantu Vatsapaha. The 8th lunar day of the bright fourth night of the month of Kartik is known by authorities as Gopastami. From that day, Lord Vasudeva served as a cowherd, whereas previously he had tended the cows. The word Padhe indicates that Lord Krishna blessed the earth by walking on her surface with his lotus feet. The Lord wore no shoes or other footgear but walked barefoot in the forest, giving great anxiety to the girls of Vrindavan, who feared that his lotus feet would be injured. The celebration was meant for only the cowherd men and boys, but Srimati Radharani also wanted to enjoy the fun. So, because of her resemblance to Subala Sakha, she donned his dhoti and other garments and joined Krishna. Thus, on this occasion, in temples in Vrindavan and elsewhere, Srimati Radharani is dressed as a cowherd boy.
Please. ये थोड़ी देर बता दीजिए मैं यही करूँ.
तो गिरिराज महाराज ने शुरू कर दिया, फिर वो एक पूरे 10 कैंटो 15 कैंटो 1 नंबर श्लोक को कोट करके एक लास्ट पैराग्राफ कर लिया. उसके बाद और एक आर्टिकल है पद्मावती माता जी का, उसको पढ़िए. ओके, दर्श कैंटो 10 चैप्टर 15 श्लोक नंबर 1. Sukdev Goswami said, when Lord Rama and Lord Krishna attained the age of Pauganda, 6 to 10, while living in Vrindavan, the cowherd men allowed them to take up the task of tending the cows. Engaging thus in the company of friends, the two boys rendered the land of Vrindavan most auspicious by imprinting upon it the marks of their lotus feet. Purport. Lord Krishna wanted to encourage his cowherd boyfriends who had been swallowed by Aghasur and then stolen by Lord Brahma. Therefore, the Lord decided to bring them into the palm tree forest called Talavan, where there were many delicious ripe fruits. Since Lord Krishna's spiritual body had apparently grown slightly in age and strength, the senior men of Vrindavan, headed by Nanda Maharaj, decided to promote Krishna from the task of herding cows to the status of a regular cowherd boy. He would now take care of the full-grown cows, bulls and oxen. Out of great affection, Nanda Maharaj had previously considered Krishna too small and immature. Lord Krishna.
Lord Krishna wanted to encourage his cowherd boyfriends who had been swallowed by Aghasur and then stolen by Lord Brahma. Therefore, the Lord decided to bring them into the palm tree forest called Talavan, where there are many delicious ripe fruits. Since Lord Krishna's spiritual body had apparently grown slightly in age and strength, the senior men of Vrindavan, headed by Nanda Maharaj, decided to promote Krishna from the task of herding calves to the status of a regular cowherd boy. He would now take care of all of the full grown cows, bulls, and oxen. Out of great affection, Nanda Maharaj had previously considered Krishna too small and immature to take care of full grown cows and bulls. It is stated in the Kartika Mahatmya section of the Padma Puran.
You can read translation.
The eighth lunar day of the bright fortnight of the month of the Kartik is known by authorities as Gopashtami. From that day, Lord Vasudev served as a cowherd, whereas previously he had tended the calves. The word Padahi indicates that Lord Krishna blessed the earth by walking on her surface with his lotus feet. The Lord wore no shoes or other footgear but walked barefoot in the forest, giving great anxiety to the girls of Vrindavan, who feared that his soft lotus feet would be injured. Text 2. Translation. Thus desiring to enjoy pastimes, Lord Madhava, sounding his flute surrounded by cowherd boys who were chanting his glories and accompanied by Lord Baladev, kept the cows before him and entered the Vrindavan forest, which was full of flowers and rich with nourishment for the animals. Purport. Srila Sanatan Goswami has explained the various meanings of the word Madhava as follows. Madhava normally indicates Krishna to be the Lord who is the consort of the goddess of fortune, Lakshmi. This name also implies that Lord Krishna descended in the dynasty of Madhu. Since the spring season is also known as Madhava, it is understood that as soon as Lord Krishna entered the Vrindavan forest, it automatically exhibited all the opulences of spring, becoming filled with flowers, breezes, and a celestial atmosphere. Another reason Lord Krishna is known as Madhava is that he enjoys his pastimes in Madhu, the taste of conjugal love. Lord Krishna would loudly sound his flute as he entered the forest of Sri Vrindavan, thus giving inconceivable bliss to all the residents of his hometown Vrajdham. These simple pastimes of playfully entering the forest, playing on the flute, and so forth were performed daily in the spiritual land of Vrindavan. Text 3. Translation. The Supreme Personality of Godhead looked.
I was here. I sent you a message. I was taking around devotees from Kalkamas. Now I'm taking the ISKCON Jew devotees to Gokul and Baldev. Yeah. No, it's Rup Vilas Group. It's his congregation. When I was there in Jew, they wanted me to help them. So I offered to help them for them. Till yesterday, I was just looking after the married devotees in the Gajabad. Today I'm going to look after them and then go back to married for the program every day. I just came to offer dispensation. No, I wrote you a message, Guru Maharaj, of all this. I wrote you a message to inform you of what I was doing and everything. I don't know why you didn't get it. I wrote to you 3 days ago. I'll see you later, Guru Maharaj.
Text 3. Translation. The Supreme Personality of Godhead looked over that forest, which resounded with the charming sounds of bees, animals, and birds, and which was enhanced by a lake whose clear water resembled the minds of great souls, and by a breeze carrying the fragrance of 100 petaled lotuses. Seeing all this, Lord Krishna decided to enjoy the auspicious atmosphere. Purport. Lord Krishna saw that the Vrindavan forest was giving pleasure to all five senses. The bees, birds, and animals made charming sounds that brought sweet pleasure to the ears. The wind was faithfully rendering service to the Lord by blowing throughout the forest, carrying the cool moisture of a transparent lake and thus giving pleasure to the sense of touch. By the sweetness of the wind, even the sense of taste was being stimulated, and the fragrance of lotus flowers was bringing pleasure to the nostrils. And the entire forest was endowed with heavenly beauty, which was giving spiritual bliss to the eyes. Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur has thus explained the significance of this verse. Text 4. Translation. The primeval Lord saw that the stately trees with their beautiful reddish buds and their heavy burden of fruits and flowers were bending down to touch his feet with the tips of their branches. Thus he smiled gently and addressed his elder brother. Purport. The words Mudha Samyan Eva indicate that Lord Krishna was in a joking mood. He knew that the trees were actually bowing down to worship him. But in the following verse, the Lord, speaking in a friendly, light-hearted mood, gives the credit to his brother Balaram. Text 5. Translation. The Supreme Personality of Godhead said, O greatest of lords, just see how these trees are bowing their heads at a lotus feet, which are worshipable by the immortal demigods. The trees are offering you their fruits and flowers to eradicate the dark ignorance that has caused their birth as trees. Purport. The trees of Vrindavan were thinking that because of past offenses they had now taken birth as trees, and being immovable could not accompany Lord Krishna in his wanderings throughout the Vrindavan area. In fact, all the creatures of Vrindavan, including the trees and cows, were great souls who could personally associate with the Supreme Personality of Godhead. But because of ecstatic sentiments of separation, the trees considered themselves in ignorance and thus tried to purify themselves by bowing down at the lotus feet of Krishna and Balaram. Lord Krishna, understanding their mentality, simultaneously glanced at them with affection and praised their devotional service before his older brother Balaram. Text 6. Translation. O original personality, these must all be the great sages and most elevated devotees of yours, for they are worshipping you by following you along the path and chanting your glories, which are themselves a holy place for the entire world. Though you have disguised yourself within the forest, O sinless one, they refuse to abandon you, their worshipable Lord. Purport. The word Gudham is significant in this verse. It indicates that although the Supreme Personality of Godhead, in his form of Krishna or Balaram, appears like an ordinary human being within the material world, great sages always recognize the Lord as the supreme absolute truth. All the transcendental forms of Godhead are eternal and full of bliss and knowledge. exactly the opposite of our material bodies, which are temporary and full of misery and ignorance. One meaning of the word Tirtha is the means for crossing beyond material existence. Simply by hearing the glories of the Supreme Lord or by chanting them, one immediately comes to the spiritual platform beyond material existence. Thus, the Lord's transcendental glories are here described as Tirtha for everyone in the world. The word Jnanataha indicates that great sages give up their vows of silence and other selfish processes to glorify the activities of the Supreme Lord. Real silence means to not speak nonsense, to limit one's verbal activities to those sounds, statements, and discussions relevant to the loving service of the Supreme Lord. The word anagha indicates that the Supreme Lord never performs sinful or offensive activities. The word also indicates that the Lord immediately excuses a sin or offense committed by a sincere devotee who may accidentally deviate from the Lord's service. In the specific context of this verse, the word Anaga indicates that Lord Balaram was not disturbed by the bees who were constantly following him. Anupatham, the Lord blessed them by saying, O bees, come to my confidential grove and feel free to taste its fragrance. Text 7. Translation. O worshipable one, these peacocks are dancing before you out of joy. These doe are pleasing you with affectionate glances, just as the gopis do, and these cuckoos are honoring you with Vedic prayers. All these residents of the forest are most fortunate, and their behavior toward you certainly befits great souls receiving another great soul at home. Text 8. Translation. This earth has now become most fortunate because you have touched her grass and bushes with your feet, and her trees and creepers with your fingernails, and because you have grazed her rivers, mountains, birds, and animals with your merciful glances. But above all, you have embraced the young cowherd woman between your two arms, a favor hankered after by the goddess of fortune herself. Purport. The word Adhaya now indicates the time of Lord Balaram and Lord Krishna's appearance on the earth. In his form of Varaha, Lord Krishna personally saved the earth, and indeed the earth is understood to rest perpetually on the potency of Shesha. Both Varaha and Shesha are expansions of Balaram, who is himself an expansion of Lord Krishna, the original personality of Lord Krishna's statements that this earth has now become most fortunate indicates that nothing can equal the blessings of the Supreme Personality of Godhead in his personal form as Krishna, appearing simultaneously with his plenary expansion Balaram. The compound word Karaja Bhimashtraha, touched by your fingernails, indicates that as Krishna and Balaram would move through the forest, they would pick fruits and flowers from the trees, bushes, and creepers and use this paraphernalia in their pleasure pastimes. Sometimes they would break leaves of the plants and use them with the flowers to decorate their bodies. Krishna and Balaram would glance lovingly and mercifully at all the rivers, hills, and creatures in Vrindavan. But the blessings received by the gopis, being embraced directly between the Lord's arms, was the supreme benediction, desired even by the goddess of fortune herself. The goddess of fortune who lives in Vaikuntha on the chest of Lord Narayana once desired to be embraced on the chest of Sri Krishna, and thus she performed severe austerities to achieve this blessing. Sri Krishna informed her that her actual place was in Vaikuntha, and it was not possible for her to dwell upon his chest in Vrindavan. Therefore, she begged Krishna to allow her to remain on his chest in the form of a golden lion, and he granted her this benediction. Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur recounts this incident from the Puranas. Text 9. Translation. Shukadev Goswami said, thus expressing his satisfaction with all the beautiful forest of Vrindavan and its inhabitants. Lord Krishna enjoyed tending the cows and other animals with his friends on the banks of river Yamuna below Govardhana hill. Text 10 to 12. Translation. Sometimes the honeybees in Vrindavan became so mad with ecstasy that they closed their eyes and began to sing. Lord Krishna, moving along the forest path with his cowherd boyfriends and Baladev, would then respond to the bees by imitating their singing while his friends sang about his pastimes. Sometimes Lord Krishna would imitate the chattering of a parrot, sometimes with a sweet voice, the call of a cuckoo, and sometimes the cooing of a swans. Sometimes he vigorously imitated the dancing of a peacock, making his cowherd boyfriends laugh. Sometimes with a voice as deep as the rumbling of clouds, he would call out with a great affection the names of the animals who had wandered far from the herd, thus enchanting the cows and the cowherd boys. Purport. Srila Sanatan Goswami explains that Lord Krishna would joke with his friends, saying, just look, this peacock does not know how to dance properly. Whereupon the Lord would vigorously imitate the peacock's dancing, causing great laughter among his friends. The bees in Vrindavan would drink the sap of the forest flowers, and the combination of this nectar and the association of Sri Krishna made them mad with intoxication. Thus, they closed their eyes in ecstasy and expressed their satisfaction by humming. And this humming was also expertly imitated by the Lord. Text 13. Translation. Sometimes he would cry out in imitation of birds, such as the chakoras, karunachas, chakra, chakrahavas, bharadavajas, and peacocks. And sometimes he would run away with the smaller animals in mock fear of lions and tigers. Purport. The word bhitavat, as if afraid, indicates that Lord Krishna played just like an ordinary boy and ran with the smaller forest creatures in a mock fear of the lions and tigers. Actually, in Vrindavan, the abode of the Lord, the lions and tigers are not violent, and thus there is no reason to fear them. Text 14. Translation. When his elder brother, fatigued from playing, would lie down with his head upon the lap of a cowherd boy, Lord Krishna would help him relax by personally massaging his feet and offering other services. Purport. The word Padasambhan Adhibhi indicates that Lord Krishna would massage Balaram's feet, fan him, and bring him river water to drink. Text 15. Translation. Sometimes, as the cowherd boys danced, sang, moved about, and playfully fought with each other, Krishna and Balaram, standing nearby, hand in hand, would glorify their friends' activities and laugh. Text 16. Translation. Sometimes Lord Krishna grew tired from fighting and lay down at the base of a tree, resting upon a bed made of soft twigs and buds and using the lap of a cowherd friend as his pillow. Purport. The word Pallava Talpeshu implies that Lord Krishna expanded himself into many forms and lay down upon the many beds of twigs, leaves, and flowers hastily constructed by his enthusiastic cowherd friends. Text 17. Translation. Some of the cowherd boys, who were all great souls, would then massage his lotus feet, and others, qualified by being free of all sin, would expertly fan the Supreme Lord. The word Samavigyan indicates that the cowherd boys fanned the Lord very carefully and expertly, creating gentle and cooling breezes. Text 18. Translation. My dear king, other boys would sing enchanting songs appropriate to the occasion, and their hearts would melt out of love for the Lord. Text 19. Translation. In this way, the Supreme Lord, whose soft lotus feet are personally attended by the goddess of fortune, concealed his transcendental opulences by his internal potency and acted like the son of a cowherd. Yet, even while enjoying like a village boy in the company of other village residents, he often exhibited feats only God could perform. Text 20. Translation. Once, some of the cowherd boys, Sridham, the very close friend of Rama and Krishna, along with the Subala, Stoka Krishna, and others, lovingly spoke the following words. Purport. The word Premana, with love, indicates that the request the cowherd boys are about to place before Lord Krishna and Lord Balaram is motivated by love, not personal desire. The cowherd boys were eager for Krishna and Balaram to exhibit the pastimes of killing demons and to enjoy the delicious fruits of the Tala forest. And therefore, they made the following request. Text 21. Translation. The cowherd boys said, O Rama, Rama, mighty armed one, O Krishna, destroyer of the miscreants, not far from here is a very great forest filled with the rows of palm trees. Purport. As stated in Sri Varaha Puran, not far from the western side of Mathura, at a distance of 2 yojanas, 16 miles, is the holy place named Govardhana, which is the most difficult to attain. It is also stated in the Varaha Puran. Not far from the western side of Mathura, 1 yojana away, 8 miles, is the forest known as Talavan, which was guarded by Dhenukasur. Thus, it appears that the Talavan forest is located midway between Mathura and Govardhana Hill. The forest of Talavan is described in Sri Harivansha as follows. The land there is even smooth and very expansive. The earth is black, densely covered with dharba grass, and devoid of stones and pebbles. Text 22. In the Talavan forest, many fruits are falling from the trees, and many are already lying on the ground. But all the fruits are being guarded by the evil Dhenuka. Purport. The demon Dhenuka would not allow anyone to eat the delicious ripe palm fruits of the Talavan. And Krishna's young boyfriends protested this unjust usurpation of the right to enjoy the fruits of a public forest. Text 23. Translation. O Rama, O Krishna, Dhenuka is the most powerful demon and has assumed the form of an ass. He is surrounded by many friends who have assumed a similar shape and who are just as powerful as he. Text 24. Translation. The demon Dhenuka has the demon Dhenuka has eaten men alive, and therefore all people and animals are terrified of going to the Tala forest. O killer of the enemy, even the birds are afraid to fly there. Purport. The cowherd boyfriends of Lord Krishna and Lord Balaram encouraged the two brothers to go at once to the Tala forest and kill the ass demon. Indeed, here they address the brothers as Amitrahan, killer of the enemy. The coward boys were engaged in ecstatic meditation upon the potency of the Supreme Personality of Godhead and reasoned thus Krishna has already killed terrible demons like Baka and Agha. So, what is so special about this obnoxious jackass named Dhenuka, who has become public enemy number one in Vrindavan? The cowherd boys wanted Krishna and Balaram to kill the demon so that all the pious inhabitants of Vrindavan could enjoy the fruits in the Tala forest. Thus, they requested the special favor that the ass demons be killed. Text 25. Translation. In the Tala forest are sweet smelling fruits no one has ever tasted. Indeed, even now we can smell the fragrance of the Tala fruits spreading all about. Purport. According to the Srila Shri Swami, the sweet fragrance of the Tala fruits was carried by an easterly wind, which is conducive to rain in the Vrindavan area. This easterly wind generally blows in the month of Bhadra and thus indicates the excellent ripeness of the fruits, while the fact that the boys could smell them indicates their nearness of the Tala forest. Text 26. O Krishna, please get those fruits for us. Our minds are so attracted by their aroma. Dear Balaram, our desire to have those fruits is very great. If you think it's a good idea, let's go to that Tala forest. Purport. Although neither man nor bird nor beast could even approach the Tal forest, the cowherd boys had so much faith in Lord Krishna and Lord Balaram that they took it for granted the two lords could effortlessly kill the sinful as demons and acquire the delicious Tala fruits. Lord Krishna's cowherd boyfriends are exalted, self-realized souls who would not ordinarily become greedy for sweet fruits. In fact, they are simply joking with the Lord and enthusing his pastime, urging him to perform unprecedented heroic feats in the Tala forest. Innumerable demons disturbed the sublime atmosphere of Vrindavan during Lord Krishna's presence there, and the Lord would kill such demons as a popular daily event. Since Lord Krishna had already killed many demons, on this particular day he decided to give first honors to Lord Balaram, who would demolish the first demon Dhenuka. By the words Yadi Rochate, the cowherd boys indicate that Lord Krishna and Lord Balaram need not kill the demon simply to satisfy them. Rather, they should do so only if the lords themselves found the concept appealing. Text 27. Translation. Hearing the words of their dear companions, Krishna and Balaram laughed, and desiring to please them, set off for the Talavan surrounded by their cowherd boyfriends. Purport. Lord Krishna was thinking, how can a mere ass be so formidable? And thus he smiled at the petition of his boyfriends, as stated by Lord Kapila in Srimad Bhagavatam 3.28.32. The smile and the laughter of the Supreme Lord Hari is most magnanimous. Indeed, for those who bow down to the Lord, his smile and laughter dry up the ocean of tears caused by the intense suffering of this world. Thus, to encourage their boyfriends, Lord Krishna and Lord Balaram smiled, laughed, and immediately set out with them for the Tala forest. Text 28 Translation. Lord Balaram entered the Tala forest first. Then, with his two arms, he began forcefully shaking the trees with the power of a maddened elephant, causing the Tala fruits to fall to the ground. Text 29 Translation. Hearing the sounds of the falling fruits, the ass demon Dhenuka ran forward to attack, making the earth and trees tremble. Translation. Text 30. Translation. The powerful demon rushed up to the Lord Baladev and sharply struck the Lord's chest with the hooves of his hind legs. Then Dhenuka began to run about, braying loudly. Text 31. Translation. Moving again, Lord Balaram, O king, the furious ass situated himself with his back toward the Lord. Then, screaming in rage, the demon hurled his two hind legs at him. Purport. The word upakroshta indicates an ass and also one who is crying out nearby. Thus, it is indicated herein that the powerful Dhenuka made horrible angry sounds. Text 32. Translation.
तुम्हें जॉब पे जाएंगे, तुम्हें गाड़ी से ट्रेवल जॉब नहीं है तो गाड़ी अरेंज कर। दोपहर में हमारा जॉब सुबह आया, वो कहता 6 घंटे में ट्रैफिक में फंसा गया। तो कल रात को निकला था तो ट्रैफिक में फंस गया, अभी सुबह 5 बजे पहुंचा तो थका हुआ डेला चाहिए कि ऐसे गाड़ी है नहीं, वो अपना जैसी है उसकी गाड़ी में देता हूँ जाएंगे डेला।
Text 32. Translation. Lord Balaram seized Dhenuka by his hoof, whirled him about with one hand, and threw him into the top of a palm tree. The violent wheeling motion killed the demon. Text 33. Translation. Lord Balaram threw the dead body of Dhenukasur into the tallest palm tree in the forest. And when the dead demon landed in the treetop, the tree began shaking, the great palm tree causing a tree by its side also to shake, broke under the weight of the demon. The neighboring trees caused yet another tree to shake, and this one struck yet another tree, which also began shaking. In this way, many trees in the forest shook and broke. Purport. Lord Balaram threw the demon Dhenuka so violently into the great palm tree that a chain reaction was unleashed, and many towering palm trees shook and then broke with a great crashing sound. Text 34. Translation. Because of Lord Balaram's pastime of throwing the body of as demon in the top of the tallest palm tree, all the trees began shaking and striking against one another as if blown about by powerful winds. Text 35. Translation. My dear Pripshit, the Lord Balaram killed Dhenukasur is not such a wonderful thing, considering that he is the unlimited personality of Godhead, the controller of the entire universe. Indeed, the entire cosmos rests upon him just as a woven cloth rests upon its own horizontal and vertical threads. Purport. Unfortunate persons cannot appreciate the blissful pastimes of the Supreme Lord. In this connection, Srila Jiva Goswami explains that the Supreme Lord possesses unlimited personality, potency and strength as exhibit need of a particular situation. Lord Balaram desired to vanquish the gang of a demoniac asses who had unlawfully seized the Talavan forest, and therefore he exhibited just enough divine opulence to easily kill Dhenuka's translation. The other as demons, close friends of Dhenukasur, were enraged upon seeing his death, and thus they all immediately ran to attack Krishna and Balaram. Purport. Srila Sanatana Goswami makes the following comment on this verse. It is stated here that the as demons first attacked Krishna and then Balaram. Krishnam cha Ramamam cha. One reason for this is that the demons, having seen the prowess of Lord Balaram, thought it is wise to attack Krishna first. Or it may be that out of affection for his elder brother, Lord Krishna placed himself between Balaram and the as demons. The word Krishnamcha Ramamamcha may also be understood to indicate that Lord Balaram, out of affection for his
Go for
Not chances.
Okay, these are the way. No problem. जी. Six, it's 6 bits.
Russian beats.
Yes.
Players were given for the third to the Russians also, and the duties who went, they were going to go around 27. Some of them they went.
Yes.
So Maharaj gave.
No.
You're going to take it.
Maybe.
Because I was going to travel on the first to Pune. So I was asking Maharaj, I'm going to Pune for some ritual. So can I get the initiation earlier before first? So I was checking with you. Did Maharaj give to
So we take the bits
Video.
for Russians. Yes. They are not chances.
Clear new? Ready?
सिंगल घेतले
क्या महाराजांसोबत बोलतो.
आपण दुसरा बीट घे ना छे बीट तो कशी नाही पाचशे वर
घेऊ रेग्युलर
घे ना लाल बॅग मध्ये ठेवलेले आहे 3-4 तरी घ्या लाल पॉलिथिन असेल भेटले का बाबा घे ना नाही झाले एक ठीक देतो तुला
मोबाईल भैया आईफोन का है ले लो ये
मैं फोन से कर लेना
इधर ही वॉक कीजिए पैदल चलते चलते जाए लेट नहीं होगा वैसे वॉक करते हुए चला चले जाए Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna.
Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Hare Ram,